You're listening to the Weekend Sport Podcast with Jason Pine from News Talk ZB.
4:24 in the morning in Paris, but James McOnie is up and about and taking our call. Good to chat to you, mate. I don't know where to start. You've been all over the place at the Olympics, but I got a message from you to say you spent time with shot put silver medalist Maddie Wishy over there. How was that? And she's an absolute diamond, isn't she?
Oh, fantastic. Her whole family are just awesome, and it was lovely to see them at New Zealand House there. And Maddie has really sort of done it her way. You know, she didn't even realise that Dame Val was a legend because she didn't really watch athletics that much on TV. So when she was starting to compete, and she realised that, oh, wait a second, I'm up against the GOAT. And of course had a great relationship with Val and is nowhere near as big. But she threw 19 metres 86 on a wet night. And she was saying that, you know, because she grew up in Auckland and trained out at Waitakere there in West Auckland, she knew all about throwing in the wet. So she was well prepared and just an absolute delight. So happy for her. And I think that she will inspire a new generation because, I mean, with all due respect, Val was 6'5", or is 6'5", but Maddie Wishy is one of those. You know, she's under 6 foot and just really powerful and good at what she does, and is quite relatable.
It's incredible the feedback we're getting a lot on the show today and yesterday and across the Olympics is just how humble our sporting champions are and just how proud we all are because they are that way. I think it's very Kiwi, isn't it? But I think of Maddie Wishy. I know, you know, you've spoken to many of the others as well. Daniel Hillier, Finn Butcher was so humble. Hamish Kerr, Lydia Ko, Lisa Carrington. The list goes on. It's just, isn't it great to be a Kiwi at a time like this?
Yeah, I find that our athletes are definitely the most approachable, and even if they've been disappointed by their results, they're still willing to give their time and chat, and they understand how important it is to, put this sport on the map, to be a good ambassador, and to reach the people of New Zealand. A lot of the athletes really talk about the next generation and hoping that they can inspire them and hope. Even David Letty tonight, I was at the weightlifting and he came 8th, and it was, you know, he's the 8th strongest man in the world. He made me repeat that several times in the interview.
I love it.
Because, I mean, that's amazing, isn't it, really? Let's be honest. He's up there in the big leagues, and some of these guys are absolute freaks. So, you know, he was making the point that he found a passion and just really went for it, and he hopes that young kids will look at him, and young Pacifica kids will try something different from maybe rugby or whatever it is. And he was talking about careers, just finding a passion. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be sport, but it can be. And I love that message, and I thought that, you know, he really acquitted himself well.
Absolutely. And Hamish Kerr said, you know, that before, or when he was growing up doing high jump, there was no one for him to look up to necessarily as that, you know, that person who'd been there and done that, and now he becomes that for somebody else. You know, there'll be kids around the country this morning, you know, setting up sort of bars or maybe, you know, bits of rope or ribbon in their backyard and doing the Fosbury flop or whatever it might be to try and emulate him. Now, speaking of meeting people, Tony Hawk. You met Tony Hawk, the skateboard goat.
I did. The GOAT was wandering around after the men's park skateboard final. And so was Snoop Dogg as well, by the way, but he had a lot of security around him. But Tony wandered past the mix zone, which is just a little sort of pig pen where all the media sort of wait for athletes to come by. And I thought, I'll just ask him, see if he'll have a word. And he turned around. I said the words New Zealand, and I think that pretty much got him over. And he and obviously, you know, I locked eyes with him, and so that was something. But I actually think that he really is, you know, probably the most famous person I've interviewed, but not necessarily the most famous from this Olympics, because I interviewed the Australian breakdancer who's gone viral, Ray Gunn. who had a very interesting routine, shall we say, and that's something that has ended up going around the world. But also the New Zealanders can't believe that she won the Oceania Champs. So it's like,
did you interview her? Have you had a chat to Reagan? She is ultra famous now.
She is super famous, and for the listeners out there, if they haven't seen what she did, she kind of writhed on the floor. It reminded me of an episode of Kath and Kim, look a moi, and then she did something that resembled a kangaroo, and there were a couple of times where she looked like she was mopping the floor with her head, and it just was quite bizarre. And, she was genuine. She was really proud to be there. She's a 36-year-old university lecturer. Although after watching her perform, I wouldn't trust her to teach anything. So it just didn't add up. And look, I hope that she's okay, because I think she's going to get a lot of attention. You know what Australians are like. If you're not repping the green and gold the right way, they'll come down on you like a ton of bricks.
I wonder that, actually, because I've seen a lot of people mentioning this, and as you would have seen this online, she has just exploded. She probably is as prominent in the last weekend as Tony Hawk. But I think some people are like, this is absolutely ridiculous. What is going on? She's become a laughing stock, or made our country a laughing stock. But I think there's another side of some Australians that I've seen who actually now are making her into a bit of a cult hero. So it'll be interesting to see where it lands once she gets back home.
Yeah, she is. She's somewhere between Eddie the Eagle, Eric the Eel, and you remember they had that ice skater Stephen Bradbury who won a gold medal when everyone fell over.
Yes.
At the but I mean, look, Bradbury was a proper racer. I feel the only issue with Rachel Gunn, is that she ended up looking kind of comical. Really, that's the only problem. I was enjoying it in the wrong way. Really, that was something to behold. There were a few memes out there saying this is what happens after a 6-year-old says, "Watch me," and Mum, watch this.
Yes. It's like when they put on, when you have visitors round and they put on shows. That's exactly it. Another one I saw was, here's a move I like to call Tracy's had a few vodkas.
Yeah, I know. It's just the gift that keeps on giving. So, yeah, we've all been chasing big names. I spoke to Scotty Scheffler after he won the gold medal of the men's golf, and I thought, okay, it's not going to get much bigger than Scotty Scheffler, but hey, a couple of days later, Tony Hawk and then Ray Gunn.
It's the holy trinity of the Olympic Games. You've absolutely nailed it. And I have to say, and the discussion back here is that only James McOnie gets those interviews. Look, I know you won't like me saying this, but you are the most disarming person I've ever met, and I'm sure that when Tony Hawk and Scotty Scheffler and Ray Gunn locked eyes with you, they were brought under that spell that so many others have been, and just felt compelled to open their hearts to you. I just think you have an incredible ability to disarm people and to make them want to chat to you. And look, it's something that I've admired for a long, long time.
Thanks, mate. I really appreciate that. You know what? I still get people coming up the street and asking for directions. I am that guy.
Yes.
Where people, and I don't even speak French or know where the hell I'm going. So, I think that there is something in that maybe. But the one thing I do think with guys like Scotty Scheffler, and I think you've got this exact same ability as well, is that as soon as you talk to them, you realise whether you can get on the same page with those people, whether they've got a little bit of enjoyment and fun in their life, And I think I've got that even just from my family, my mum, my grandmother, and my sisters. We're all very similar like that. We like to find out people's life story in 2 minutes, and and counting. Really, it's just it's a family curse.
Yeah, well, it is also a magic power, mate, a magic power indeed. James, great to chat to you. I presume you'll be coming home at some stage. Can we look forward to your company next Sunday from somewhere, maybe back here, over there, or somewhere in between?
Well, Piney, I'm going to drive you crazy because I think I'll be at the opening day of the English Premier League, Bournemouth versus Nottingham Forest. So you can get excited about that.
Mate, safe travels there. Can't wait to catch up next Sunday. Get some sleep. Always great to chat.
Cheers, mate. Really appreciate it. And can't wait to get back.
Yeah, can't wait to see when you get back, mate. But off to Bournemouth with you to watch Bournemouth against Nottingham Forest. Unfortunately, Alex Paulson's not going to be there. We didn't even get the chance to chat about Alex Paulson over the weekend. There was so much else going on. Alex Paulson to Auckland FC. Maybe we can address that once the games are over.
For more from Weekend Sport with Jason Pine, listen live to News Talk ZB weekends from midday or follow the podcast on iHeartRadio.